Welcome to World Challenge 2008. Coming up in this programme, India's cliff-hanging hunters risk life and limb to make a sting in the honey market. The fad for rooibos, a caffeine-free medicinal tea from southern Africa, has turned around the fortunes of a once destitute community in South Africa's Cape. But first, a reminder of the website where you can vote for your favourite World Challenge finalist, theworldchallenge.co.uk. World Challenge 2008 features 12 enterprising businesses and projects from around the world. It's for you to choose which one you think is the most deserving of the World Challenge Cash Award. The honey in this shop is no ordinary honey. It's been taken from wild bee colonies that hang from rock cliffs in the monsoon forest of southern India. For centuries, the honey has meant an income for those skilled and brave enough to collect it. Honey hunting was a vanishing skill, but a revival is underway with the introduction of a new practice that's turning a profit on tradition. South India's tropical forests are home to the Adivasis, tribal communities looked upon as outsiders by Hindu society. For the Adivasis, the forest has traditionally been their home and their larder. Their lifestyle, based on the sustainable use of the forest, has always put them apart.
Some of these communities that we're working here with are classified as primitive tribal groups. So if you look at it from a country or an international perspective, they're not part of the outside world.
But here, as throughout India, that outside world, in the form mainly of commercial plantations, is encroaching. The Adivasis' villages used to barter the forest goods, and honey was the most valuable. In India, conservationist groups see helping the forest people as the best way of saving the forest's biodiversity. One such is the Keystone Foundation, set up with the double goal of supporting the environment and development of the people.
For us, it was beautiful because it was, they were bridging this divide between the environment and their own livelihoods.
The process of collecting the honey is steeped in tradition.
For them, the bees are the source of life. They sing to the bees actually when they come down the rocks, telling the bees that we've just come to take a little bit of the honey for our kids. Please do not go away, and if you do, please come back again.
He got stung? He got stung. I didn't get stung. Out of the 4 of us, 3 got stung today, but we don't mind. It's good for us.
Teamwork is part of the tradition. It took this group of hunters 8 days in the forest to make this 100-metre rope out of strips of tree bark. It's the end of the season, and the giant rock bee has started its annual migration. So the hunters have managed to fill only one 10-litre drum with honey today. But such is their reverence for the bees, they still leave 2 of the 5 nests untouched out of respect.
They have been able to come up with systems that respects the bees and the environment. And so they maybe take a few combs only in a certain area, on a certain cliff. There are certain areas where they still do not touch the combs at all because they feel they are holy cliffs. But for us, they are gene pools that they are preserving and they are letting them survive.
To help the honey hunters adapt to the pace of change enforced by the outside world, Keystone intervened a dozen years ago. Its approach is to keep as many traditions alive as possible while establishing a marketing and fair pricing system.
We wanted this organization primarily to look at both issues of environment and development together. Because if you look at one and if you exclude the others, it's not a solution that will work.
Today, the communities are in charge of their own distribution and processing, and the assured market offered by Keystone gives them a more reliable income than before. The hunters take their harvest to their local production centre, where the honey is filtered and weighed. Data on the harvest is painstakingly recorded, and the hunters are paid. Some refinements to the process have meant better quality honey.
So as you cut and separate the honeycomb like this, you can avoid all these things getting mixed into the honey. This is an important skill they have acquired. So their honey quality nowadays, it's become better and better.
Business is booming. The project began in just 3 villages. Today, nearly 50 are producing the wild honey. Keystone has also brought its marketing expertise to bear on goods made from other forest products, from pickles to pottery. They've even introduced hives to supplement the gatherer's income from the wild bees. It's a safer way to collect honey, but many still prefer collecting it in the wild.
I'm interested in bees, so when Keystone offered me a hive, I accepted, but I could never stop climbing the cliffs.
Beekeeping is an important spare-time activity. It's not a full-time activity. They can learn this art and they can produce honey. It can be marketed, so it's an additional income source for the family.
The wax was often thrown away until Keystone showed it could be turned into candles and balms and then sold. Before the production centre opened, Papa and the other villagers worked as casual labour on the plantations.
Going outside for work was tough. Here at the centre it's better. Before, we had to leave an hour earlier in the mornings. Now we have enough time to get the kids ready for school and housework like washing clothes and doing the dishes before work. And in the evening, we finish work at 5:30 and have plenty of time to prepare dinner.
Rasu is a chief honey hunter. He has taught new generations the skills he first learned at 12 from his grandfather.
Slowly, we are now giving all our honey to Keystone, which is helping us with a good rate for the purchase of honey and wax. In the old days, beeswax was wasted.
There are now 7 shops selling honey, candles and other sustainable products from the tribal people.
And so we market things like pottery from other groups, garments which are organic, which are fair trade. That's how the enterprise has slowly grown.
The headquarters has become a focal point where over 300 honey gatherers come to collect their share of the profits. The scheme is so successful that the Forest Department now relies on honey hunters for data on wild species and flowering cycles in the forest. It also sends village groups to the centre for training in quality control and marketing.
The Forest Department, they've been given a role as conserving the forest, and they are understanding that if they do not have the participation of the community, their job is just too tough.
If it wins the World Challenge, Keystone intends to spend the prize money on opening another processing centre, ensuring the future of this sustainable livelihood.
They survived 1,000 years, they can survive in the future too. But we have to be able to give them the space to be able to do this, not come up with our own solutions from outside.
Remember, you have the chance to decide which World Challenge finalist is the most deserving, and you can help them win a cash prize. Visit theworldchallenge.co.uk and find out how you can cast your vote. Don't go away. In part 2 of World Challenge 2008, if you love herbal tea, find out how you can help drink communities in Southern Africa out of poverty.